Guys, welcome back. Today we're doing completing the square. It's a very fun topic, very fun. But here's kind of what it entails. Find each square. So if you remember, d minus 4 squared is the same as d minus 4 times d minus 4. So on this first one, we'll just FOIL it out. So if you multiply the first terms, we have d squared. Outside you'd have negative 4d. Inside you'd have another negative 4d. And the last negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 16. So if you combine your like terms, the negative 4d and negative 4d, you get negative 8d there. So if you look, when you have these shortcuts, you square the first term, right? D times d is d squared. For the middle term, you multiply them together and then multiply by 2 because there were 2 of them. So that's where we get the negative 8d. And then you square the last term, negative 4 times negative 4 gets you that positive 16. So that's what we'll do on number 2 and 3 here. Square the first term, x times x is x squared. You multiply them together and then multiply by 2. X times 11 is 11x times 2 is 22x. And then you square the last term. 11 times 11 is 121. So let's try that on 3. You square the first term. K times k is k squared. If you multiply these together, we'd have negative 8k times 2 would be negative 16k. And then you square the last term. Negative 8 squared would be positive 64. The last term is always plus, because it's either positive times positive or negative times negative. Factor. So we're looking for factors of 25 that add up to 10, which would be 5 and 5. So we'd write b plus 5 times b plus 5. But if you have the same thing written twice, the cool thing to do is just write b plus 5 squared. And I'll just be totally honest with you guys, that's going to happen on these other two. That's the whole reason we're practicing, because we're going to be using this trick today. So if you look, and remember you can see that by looking for perfect squares. So if you could square the first and last term, it's probably one of those perfect square trinomials. Square root of t squared is t. Square root of 49 is 7. But you should double check, because that middle term, remember, is when you multiply them together and multiply by 2. T times 7 is 7t, times 2 is 14t. So you got to make sure when you multiply them together and double it, you get that middle term. Square root of n squared is n. Square root of 81 is 9. I see the first symbol is minus, so it's probably n minus 9 squared. But double check. Negative 9 times n times 2 gives us negative 18n. Cool. We're all warmed up. How do I stop the recording? There we go.